The Chicago Bears take on the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football on Caleb Williams' primetime debut in front of all of America. Can the Bears somehow pull off the upset? Watch this video to hear my thoughts. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears prediction video, which I'll be doing before every single Bears game this year. I will also be having a post-game reaction after every single Bears game. My post-game reaction for this game is going to be out a little bit late, probably on Monday evening, because I will actually be at a watch party for this game with a bunch of other Bears creators and Bears fans. And by the way, if you guys want to go to that watch party, tickets are still available. It's going to be held at Rizzo's Bar and Inn in Chicago, and it'll be a fun time. I'd love to meet some of you guys there, so I'll put a link to buy tickets down below in the description box. But yeah, I'm going to be home pretty late on Sunday night, so I won't be able to get a reaction out until Monday. But yeah, talking about this game, guys, this might be the toughest game on the Chicago Bears schedule, okay? Either this one or maybe the game against the Packers later on this year, or maybe the one against the 49ers later on this year. But it's definitely up there as one of the toughest matchups on the Chicago Bears schedule. And I kind of wish this was not on Sunday Night Football, only because it's a rookie quarterback, second start ever. He's coming off a pretty rocky debut, so it's not like I'm scared to see Caleb on national TV. It's just that, like, it's so early, you know, with the rookie quarterback, with their offense still figuring things out. So definitely a little bit nervous for this one, but nobody's picking the Bears to win this. The Bears are underdogs by at least 6 points, according to most of the sports books I've seen the odds listed on. So it's kind of house money, you know, for the Bears in this game. Like, if we win this game, people are going to go crazy and start talking the Bears up as a contender, you know, for beating the Texans. If we lose this game, nobody really will care. But obviously, I want the Bears to be competitive in this game, fight hard till the end. And I want to see a better, you know, performance out of Caleb and the offense, because what we saw in the last game cannot happen every single game. And talking about the Texans, guys, you know, like I mentioned, they are going to be one of the toughest matchups on our schedule because they're coming off a pretty fantastic season in which CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons for a quarterback in NFL history. He passed for over 4,000 passing yards, barely had any interceptions, led the Houston Texans to a playoff win after having the second worst record in football. So, you know, CJ Stroud in some ways is why a lot of Bears fans and NFL fans have such high expectations for every rookie quarterback, which I don't think is totally fair, because not every rookie quarterback can be a CJ Stroud right away and have success right away. For some other quarterbacks, you know, it takes a little bit of time, but CJ was great right out the gate, and the Texans are coming off, you know, pretty fantastic offseason in which they added some pieces to both offense and defense, which I will talk about. So going to be a tough game for sure. The Texans are coming off a pretty nice win against a divisional opponent, against the Colts. I believe they won that 29-27, something like that. So they're 1-0 to start the season, just like we are. And yeah, talking about the Texans, guys, I'll be breaking down their offense. First of all, I'm not going to be talking about stats, 2024 stats this early in the season, because it's only been one game. But talking about their offense a little bit, obviously you have to talk about CJ Stroud when talking about the Texans offense, because this guy is just so ridiculously good. He's so accurate with the football. He's a very smart decision maker. He only had 5 interceptions last year, which for a rookie quarterback, that's really damn good. He threw 23 touchdowns last year, had 4,108 passing yards, and he just made a bunch of big time plays for the Texans when they needed it the most. He's big, strong, tall, you know, athletic enough to move a little bit. He can extend plays here and there, and he just makes some crazy wow throws down the field every single game. So going up against a quarterback that is as cerebral as CJ Stroud is, as accurate as he is, and as big of a playmaker as he is going to be a tough challenge, no doubt. And the receiving core he has is upgraded from last year, because they traded for Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills. And I know that Stephon Diggs has had some issues in the past. Like, that's why he's been traded 2 times, first from the Vikings, then from the Buffalo Bills. But he's a good player when he's at his best. And last game, he had 2 touchdowns against the Colts, right? So he's already making an impact in the red zone for the Texans. And he's a capable weapon down the field. I mean, last year with the Bills, he wasn't that good in the second half. But if he can, you know, kind of go back to what he was earlier for the Buffalo Bills, like, he is a dynamic weapon for the Texans in this game. They also have Tank Dell coming back from injury. Okay, Tank Dell got injured last year. He's back from that injury, and he's a really solid weapon down the field. Last year, he connected with CJ Stroud multiple times on big 40, 50 plus yard plays. So that's a guy that could stretch the Bears defense. And they obviously have Nico Collins, the guy from Michigan, who big body, tall, strong. He had how many yards? He had 117 yards in the last game against the Colts. So already coming off a pretty big performance, he's going to be a guy the Bears secondary is going to have to watch out for as well. So, I mean, they got 3 dudes on this receiving core. Like, the Bears secondary is going to have their hands full with these guys. Probably the best receiving core we're going up against throughout this entire season. So I know the Bears secondary does have a lot of talent, but it's going to be a tough matchup going up against 3 dudes, like 3 guys that could be number 1s or at least like high level number 2s, and obviously a very accurate quarterback in CJ Stroud. Now, talking about their run game was on fire the last game against the Colts. Okay, last game they added Joe Mixon in the offseason from the Bengals, and Joe Mixon had a hell of a game last game. He had 159 rushing yards, so very efficient on his rushing attempts. They ran the ball pretty frequently in that game, and the Texans O-line was very good in terms of run blocking up front the last game. I mean, they got some big maulers up front when it relates to run blocking, right? So the Texans got a very nice combination of a strong quarterback, a strong passing attack, and a pretty solid run game. An offensive coordinator in Bobby Slowick, who is pretty creative, pretty innovative. And the offensive line up front, in terms of run blocking, they have been pretty good. In terms of pass pro, they weren't the best last game, and they have some issues, I feel like, at center and also at right tackle. Titus Howard has had, some bad moments in the NFL. So, there are ways to attack this Texans offense, but it's a very solid offense on paper, and it's going to be, a pretty tough matchup for the Bears defense to defend against. But talking about the Texans defense then, they got some strong talent here and a pretty smart defensive mind in DeMeco Ryans at head coach, who, for the 49ers, I mean, he was the architect behind some really strong defenses there a couple of years in San Fran. And so far for the Texans, he's been a very good head coach, and the defense has had, some ups and downs, obviously, but they added good talent in the offseason. They added Denico Autry from the Titans, division rival Titans, which is, pretty good for Texans fans, I'm sure, stealing from a division rival. And they also added Danielle Hunter in the offseason too from our division rival Minnesota Vikings. And we are very familiar with Danielle Hunter. It seems like this guy sacked Justin Fields 10, 15 times during his time with the Vikings. I mean, he consistently got after Justin Fields. I hope that Caleb does not suffer the same fate as Fields had in some of those games against the Vikings. But Danielle Hunter, man, a premier edge rusher. Okay, really, really good in terms of just getting pressure on the quarterback. Very dynamic. He can move laterally very well. He's got great bend. So our tackles are going to have their hands full working against Danielle Hunter, and then also Denico Autry on the other side. When he comes in, he had 8 sacks for the Titans, so pretty big acquisition. They also got Will Anderson too, who they picked in the draft last year, and he had 7 sacks last year. And at Alabama, a menace against the run and against the pass. So they got a rotation of guys on this defensive line that could be pretty good at edge rusher. And talking about their interior, though, like interior defensive line, I think that's where they are weaker, at least from our previous opponent, the Titans, because the Titans had Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat, probably one of the best 1-2 punches in all of football on the inside, while the Texans still have decent players there. They got Mario Edwards. Okay, former Chicago Bear Mario Edwards is working on the inside. And they also got Folderunsu Fatukasi. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but both Mario Edwards and him have been in the NFL for, decent amount of years. And they're decent veterans, but they're not like superstar level names. So our interior offensive line, the Bears interior offensive line, should have a better day against these interior defensive linemen, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, talking about the Texans secondary, they definitely do have their fair share of playmakers back there. They got Jalen Petrie, obviously, who intercepted Justin Fields multiple times in Fields' second year in the NFL. I remember that game. I mean, he was all over the field making big-time plays and really spoiled Fields' second game, even though the Bears won that game. But he's a guy that can definitely get his hands on the football, pretty rangy in coverage. They got Derek Stingley, a top drafted cornerback who had a pretty good last game and has had, fair share of really good moments in the NFL so far, being a young corner. But besides those two, they do have some question marks elsewhere. They did trade for Jeff Okuda from the Lions, from the Falcons, actually. He was on the Falcons last year, and Okuda has not been a good corner so far in the NFL, so we'll see if he even plays much in this game. But yeah, that's the Texans defense. Pretty solid. They got some big-time playmakers, but also some question marks on it. And last game against the Colts, they did allow, I believe it was 27 points. So, maybe not a great showing, but they certainly do have talent still on paper. Now, before I talk about the Bears side, with NFL season being back, that means that betting season also is back, and you guys should make it a winning season using MyBookie, the sponsor of today's video. MyBookie has fantastic promotions going on this NFL season. Currently, they have something called a weekly risk-free boost, where on Thursdays you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, congrats, you win some money. If it doesn't hit, MyBookie will refund your wager. So pretty cool promotion to take advantage of. They also are giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes with their Super Survivor and Squares contest. So, pretty cool opportunity to win some huge cash rewards. And using my promo code WindyCity, if you guys want to sign up, there's a link down below to sign up. If you use my promo code WindyCity, you can actually double your first deposit up to $1,000. So if you ask me, that's a great way to get a start to your bankroll. And they also have something called MyBookie Plus, where the more you play, the more rewards you earn. So they have a loyalty program, which is pretty cool to take advantage of as well. So bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make the season a winning season using MyBookie. Getting back to the video, talking about the Chicago Bears offense, first of all, they had as bad of a first game as you possibly could have. Okay, their quarterback Caleb Williams passed for less than 100 passing yards, and the offense could not move the ball down the field whatsoever. We had no run game, we had no passing attack. Everybody was discombobulated up front. We had multiple penalties, multiple blown up plays. I mean, the most concerning part was that we could not even convert third and short in this game. Like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, we could not convert those whatsoever, which is just so infuriating to watch, right? So Shane Waldron has to go back to the drawing board and come up with a game plan that can work a lot better. Okay, those 3rd and short plays have to be better. They have to be better executed too, obviously, by our offensive line, by our quarterback. And talking about an injury update in this game, I'm not even sure if Rome Odunze is going to play in this game, right? So I'm recording this video on Monday afternoon, so things could change as the week progresses, and if they do change, I'll probably leave a comment down below. But Rome Odunze is going in for an MRI on his knee tomorrow because of an injury he suffered in the second half of the last game, which came up out of nowhere. Like, I did not even know that Rome was hurting last game. I don't think anybody did, because he played a little bit after that injury he suffered. It was on a blocking play, but if Rome is out for any extended amount of time, that obviously really sucks for the Bears offense, because they drafted him at pick number 9 to be an instant contributor on this Bears offense. Like, he has that contested catchability down the field. He has that big body, receiver ability that we don't really have on this roster elsewhere. Like, he is the biggest guy, the tallest guy at the receiver spot. So do the Bears call up Colin Johnson from practice squad? I think that's certainly possible if Rome is out for a couple weeks, but it just really sucks that, especially in your rookie year when you need these reps, Rome might not be getting these reps. But fingers crossed, hopefully nothing pops up on the MRI. And, talking about the Bears offense a little bit more, I think that, where we're going to have to see improvements, obviously, in this game are going to be from the quarterback and from the interior offensive line. The interior offensive line got just completely destroyed, blown up the entire game last game. Tevin Jenkins had a pretty bad game too, which usually does not happen, but going up against a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, it just proved to be a lot, for our interior. So blocking has to be better up front. There has to be better communication too. And the quarterback, Caleb Williams, obviously had a very rough day the last game, but I feel like he made decisions that made sense. It's just the accuracy was not there, which the accuracy is something he's never struggled with during his football career. So I think that's going to sort itself out eventually. The question is, how soon is that going to sort itself out? Because in this league, you have to be able to hit your wide open guys down the field. You have to be able to hit the middle of the field guys that you see open. And Caleb wasn't doing that last game. I hope he can do that in this game. But switching over to talking about the Bears defense, they were dominant in the last game. I mean, they only allowed basically 14 points. 3 of the points they allowed came because of a Velus Jones muffed kickoff return, which they held the Titans to 3 points to only a field goal, even after the Titans got the ball like at the 30. So that was a good stop by the defense. And in the second half, the defense allowed 0 points, had 3 turnovers, had multiple sacks. I mean, it was just a dominant day by the Chicago Bears defense. So they're coming off, a big high, but they can't let the high go to their heads because now they're going up against a very talented offense in the Texans. Now, the most encouraging thing for the Bears defense the last game was the defensive line performance all across the board, because it wasn't just one guy. It was not just Montez Sweat doing everything. It was everybody doing very well. It was Andrew Billings getting 4 pressures. It was Javon Dexter getting a sack. It was DeMarcus Walker getting 5 pressures. It was Daryl Taylor, the guy we traded for, right before the season started, only gave up a 6th-round pick for him. He had 2 sacks and a forced fumble in the last game. Like, this Bears D-line might be deeper than I thought it was entering this year. And if that's the case, I mean, the Texans O-line could have some issues, especially on the inside working against the Bears D-line. The secondary also was very good in the last game. Jalen Johnson actually had the highest grade, according to PFF, among all cornerbacks in the NFL. And this guy still does not get the respect that he deserves because his peers did not vote him into being a top 100 player in the NFL. So Jalen is on a mission to be the best cornerback in football again and get interceptions every single game. He had a pick the last game. Tyreek Stevenson, the year 2 cornerback, had a pick 6 in the last game, which that pick 6 is going viral just because of Will Levis's reaction to that, where he was on his knees with the surrender cobra pose. I mean, that was so damn funny. So this defense just has so much turnover forcing ability, which I just want to see if they can force those turnovers against a quarterback like CJ Stroud. I mean, CJ Stroud only has 5 interceptions in his career so far. So working against a smart quarterback like that can diagnose blitzes, that can diagnose coverages, can we still get those turnovers? We're going to have to wait and see. The run defense also is going to be tested. They played pretty good the last game, but in the first half, there were some rough moments where they allowed a big-time touchdown to Tony Pollard, and Joe Mixon is a better running back than Tony Pollard is, and the Texans' run blocking up front is probably going to be better than the Titans' run blocking was up front, so definitely watch how the Bears play the run in this game, okay? Hopefully they can contain the running backs that the Texans have. But let me get to my 3 keys to Bears victory now. How can the Chicago Bears pull off the upset on the road? And key number 1 is going to be to have improved accuracy and composure from QB1 in the pocket. Now, I'm obviously not expecting perfection out of a rookie quarterback making his 2nd start ever, 1st start ever on the road on primetime television. Like, there are going to be mistakes 100% in this game. Like, I'm not gonna kill Caleb for mistakes, but he does have to be better in this game at certain points and move the football down the field accurately and confidently. I mean, last game he was missing throws, which I have never seen Caleb Williams ever miss at the college level. I know he can hit these throws. The one down the field to Keenan Allen wide open, he should be hitting that every single time. I just think that he got a little bit too eager and a little bit nervous too in his first start, which is totally understandable. I mean, it is the NFL. I know that Caleb said he doesn't get nervous before games, but I'm not buying that, okay? A rookie quarterback obviously is going to be nervous at some points during his rookie season, but we just want to see some flashes of what we saw at USC and at Oklahoma, okay? The confident, calm, collected quarterback in the pocket that was delivering darts across the middle of the field, down the field. I mean, he was very good in the pocket at the college level. There's no doubt in my mind he can be good at doing that. He just has to get more practice time, more reps, and just get more, comfortable with the speed of the NFL game. Key number 2 then is going to be to attack the deficiencies in the Texans' offensive line. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but the Texans do have some problems in pass protection. They weren't that good in the last game. Titus Howard at right tackle has had some issues in pass pro during his career with the Texans, and the center Juice Scruggs has also had his fair share of issues. Now, CJ Stroud is so talented of a quarterback that sometimes it does not matter if they are not good in pass protection, but if the Bears do want to get pressure on CJ Stroud, they have to be attacking these weak points of the Texans offensive line and get pressure on the quarterback. And when they do get pressure, actually bring CJ Stroud into the dirt. They cannot be letting him run around and extend plays because he is going to kill you there. And then finally, key number 3 is going to be to get the tight ends involved in the passing attack in this game for the Chicago Bears. I mean, last game we barely threw at all to Cole Kmet or Gerald Everett, and Gerald Everett actually had more snaps played than Cole Kmet the last game, which I don't agree with whatsoever. Cole Kmet is definitely a better tight end than Gerald Everett. I know that Gerald Everett has, decent receiving abilities, but Cole Kmet also has been pretty solid receiver last couple of years for the Bears. So I just want to see Shane Waldron really drop more plays to get these tight ends actually involved and be primary reads on some of these plays. Okay, a good tight end is a rookie quarterback's best friend. I mean, they have big bodies. They can get some tough yak yards after the catch. So when Caleb is in trouble, I want him to be attacking Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett, and that's going to hopefully help out his stat line in this game. Now it's time for my score prediction. Who do I have win this matchup? And guys, I have the Chicago Bears going on the road on Sunday Night Football, losing to the Texans by a score of 24-17. Now, you guys know me. I'm a big Bears fan, so the fan side of me always wants to pick wins. I want to pick the Bears to win this like 31-24 or something like that, but I also have to be realistic and, be an analyst sometimes. And I'm just telling you guys how I see it. Like, obviously the Texans are in win now mode. They're coming off a playoff win from last year. They have a more proven quarterback. Like, obviously I'm not going to be picking the Bears to win this because the Texans are just at a different stage in their rebuild than we are. I mean, the Texans are definitely not rebuilding anymore. The Texans are firmly in contention mode. And I think the Bears also, have a pretty solid team right now, but coming off a pretty rocky game last game, like, I'm not going to pick the Bears to score a whole lot of points until I see it myself. I think the first month of the season could be pretty rocky offensively while Caleb gets his rookie struggles out of the way, while our offense tries to get on the same page and, gain that chemistry. And I don't think our defense is going to be good enough in this game to single-handedly carry us to victory again, because CJ Stroud is a lot better than Will Levis is, and you can't score a defensive touchdown, a special teams touchdown every single game. Now, I do think our offense is going to be better in this game. Like, all the 17 points I have the Bears scoring are going to be coming from the offense. So I do think Caleb gets, 170, 180, hopefully 200 plus passing yards, hopefully 250 plus, obviously. But like, I'm just trying to be realistic with my expectations based on what I saw in the last game. What I saw the last game was just complete dog shit from the offense. So even though I have them doing better, like, I still don't have them scoring a lot of points because, I got to see it to believe it. Now, for my offensive MVP for this game, I have that being Cole Kmet for the Bears. I think that Cole Kmet is going to have a pretty good game. He should be targeted more in this game than he was the last game, at least I hope. And I think that being that yak monster, being that tough guy in the middle for Caleb Williams, he's going to show up big in this game and have, 50 to 70 receiving yards and a touchdown as well. As for my defensive MVP, I have that being Tremaine Edmonds. Like, the Tremaine Edmonds with his long arms, bats down a couple passes, maybe goes through on a blitz and gets a pressure, maybe even a sack. But I think that Tremaine, for whatever reason, is going to have a pretty good game in this one. But leave your comments down below, guys. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? Do you guys have the Bears winning this game? Because if you do, I admire your optimism. I think it's certainly possible, right? Like, this is the NFL. It's any given Sunday. And if the Bears actually go in here and win this game, I'm going to have a crazy reaction. And I might just be picking the Bears to, like, go to the Super Bowl at that point, right? If we somehow beat the Texans. But obviously, not a lot of people are predicting that. So, hopefully the Bears somehow pull off the miraculous upset. But leave your comments down below, guys. As always, bear down.